In the family reunions, they always talk about, Frederick and the industry that the family is a part of, which is the timber industry. So my great, great, great grandfather is Frederick Weyerhaeuser. So Frederick Weyerhaeuser was the Rockefeller of timber. He was unbelievably wealthy, like the second wealthiest in the world at this point in time. Many people thought he was the wealthiest in the world. He built America, and his wood built America. He was a really good man. He wasn't competitive. He didn't cut the throat of everybody that was, competing against him. Instead, he worked with them and lifted all of them up together. He formed partnerships. He formed alliances. They called it the Weyerhaeuser Syndicate by the end of it. And it was this massive group where nobody really knew everybody else except for Frederick. Frederick just connected everybody and made all this amazing stuff happen. Yeah, and there's some really cool Frederick quotes. One of the ones that the family always talks about and perpetuates was this isn't for me, it's not for my children, it's for my children's children and for their children. And obviously that's something that the descendants of Frederick, hold near and dear. Another really interesting quote was when they wrote an article about him that was entitled Richer Than Rockefeller. Nobody knew what people's actual wealth was at this point in time. And this article came out and it was big deal, big press or whatever, and claiming that Frederick was much wealthier than Rockefeller was. There's a quote of him talking, I believe it's to his sons or his kids, about this article that came out. And he says, I don't think I'm the richest man in the world, but I think I might be the happiest. And that's just a really, really powerful quote, really, really beautiful, powerful quote. And he was a forest man. He's a man of the trees. He's a man of the people. Really, really, really good human. And he's not discussed at all, which is crazy because the way that he did business, it makes sense because the way that he did business is different than the way that they want business to be done. And plus Rockefeller designed the school system. So of course he'll keep, but he's not discussed, where you have Carnegie and Vanderbilt and Rockefeller that are talked about a lot. I also think that there's probably a lot more to that. I think he probably, didn't join in the cult, we'll say. But yeah, so that's my family lineage. So we have a really, really big, powerful family with a bunch of really amazing people. That's very different than any other old money, old wealth family. It's super, super unique, and it's very special. It's very spiritual, and it's, yeah, really, really wonderful, amazing people. And it's a really unique part of my story that I don't know how to translate to people, I don't know how to describe really fully what it's like or what it's been like for me. But it comes into play, and it will certainly come into play in the story that you and I are living out right now, and that everybody that's listening to this is living out with us. It certainly will come into play, and it has been starting to come into play. Also really interesting to know, and I think we discussed this on one of your Launchpad podcasts, but, Frederick harvested trees for a living. He was the biggest tree dealer in the world, which I think is a funny way to look at it. But, there are coniferous trees, pine forest, pine trees. Where do Amanita grow? They grow in symbiosis with pine trees and coniferous trees. So they're in some sense, it's continuing that legacy with what we're doing now. And I started having psychics tell me, I guess we can get into this. I started having psychics tell me 4 or 5 years ago that I'm the reincarnation of Frederick. And it resonates. It hits quite a bit for me.